most people fail at regulating their nervous system because they make it harder than it needs to be. Since my own recovery from chronic fatigue syndrome, I've coached over 1,000 clients with dysregulated nervous systems, and I learned a lot. So allow me to make your healing journey a whole lot easier. Today, I'd like to share with you the 10 most important steps in regulating your nervous system. A dysregulated nervous system means that your system is detecting danger. And the cure of danger is safety. But a lot of people tell themselves that they are safe and sort of try to bypass their own inner truth. And that doesn't work. So you have to show your body and make your body feel safe instead of convincing yourself. And in step 1, the most important step probably is to stop anything that you are doing when you notice that your stress levels are getting through the roof. And the sooner you stop any activity, whether it is doing the laundry or cooking or having a conversation, the sooner you stop, the easier it becomes to regulate yourself again. And then you're probably going to lie down somewhere. But what to do? It's about connecting with your body. Because when you are stressed, when you are in survival mode, when there is danger, we put the direction of our attention away from us. And now we do the exact opposite. And when you connect with your body, you can, for example, do a body scan. Or maybe you can hug yourself like this. Maybe you can slowly move and feel your arms. Maybe you can feel the surface. And then after that, step number 3, which is pretty similar, is also one of the most important steps in creating safety. And that is to become back in the present moment. And again, it's the same thing. Because when your autonomic nervous system is dysregulated, when you're completely stressed and in survival mode, your thoughts are going to drift off. And maybe your thoughts are even causing that it all gets worse, like a downward spiral. So in order to tackle that and create more safety, it's about becoming present. And you can do that via your senses. For example, by looking around, hearing, etc. And step 2 and step 3 can feel very uncomfortable, and that's okay. You don't have to perfect this. Instead, every day you can try to become a little bit more present and a little bit more connected to your body. But also know that this is not a long-term solution, because when the cause of a dysregulated nervous system is that you're storing a lot of stress in your body, connecting with your body will also make sure that you connect with the internal stress. And therefore, we need to continue. This alone is not enough. Step 4 is allowing. Allowing everything that is, from a dysregulated nervous system, symptoms, emotions, your circumstances, completely everything. This is also very hard in the beginning, and you don't have to master this, because the opposite of allowing means that you're very stressed. So this will give you more safety, even though you might not like your symptoms, your emotion, your circumstances. You don't really have any other option. Step 5 is about kindness. Not towards anyone else, not towards a partner, but towards yourself. Treat yourself as if you are your own partner. Say some nice things. Congratulate yourself for trying. I mean, why not? What do you have to lose? And this also gives a huge message of safety, because instead of trying to improve yourself and try to be better, you're no longer in resistance towards the one that you actually are, the one that is struggling, the one that deserves your kindness. Step 6 is creating a safe rhythm that creates predictability. Because the more you can predict your rhythm, the more you can predict your energy, the more you know what kind of activities are in your comfort zone and what is not. And it becomes easier to predict if you can do something, or when you go to bed, when you wake up. So I always recommend people to go to bed more or less around the same time, to wake up every morning around the same time, get into a seated position, and this will over time improve your rhythm. So expose yourself to some sunlight to improve your circadian rhythm. And then during the day, implement moments of rest. And then you can plan the rest of your days in between all of these moments of rest. And then you'll notice that it becomes easier to plan your day, to do your groceries, to cook, and maybe if you have more energy, to do something extra, and then try to enjoy it. And you don't have to be afraid in that moment because you know more or less what you can do. So that's a big win. But of course, you're going to have doubts. Is this actually working? So step 7 is dealing with that, because healing is not linear. So don't expect that it will just all dissolve within a few months or just by implementing these tools. You're going to have a lot of doubts, and that's okay. What helps in those moments is to inform yourself with, for example, the mind-body theory, with a dysregulated nervous system, and also that it is okay to doubt. And yeah. And all of the steps that I previously mentioned can massively reduce your stress response, and especially the secondary stress response, which is the result of dealing with a chronic illness. We're also doing these steps with our clients. And Tia, who joined the program as well, she felt like this in the beginning.
When I started the program, I had just quit my job, I couldn't sleep, I had very high anxiety, joint pain, muscle pain, and many other symptoms.
And implementing these regulation tools made her go to this place, which is a lot better.
Now that I get symptoms, I'm able to release them most days, and I've gained a lot of my capacity to do things that I really enjoy, like walking outside, taking care of my daughter, spending time with friends, cooking, taking a shower without sitting. And I'm just really grateful and looking forward to another year of releasing.
All of the steps before are not resolving the root cause. And the root cause is likely that a lot of stress from your unconscious mind is coming to the surface. And you might not be aware of that because your unconscious mind can filter that. And that's exactly the problem, because the less you feel, the more you suppress, the more anxious you're going to become. And you'll notice that in your thoughts, in nervousness, your heart rate, etc. And therefore, we need to connect with these underlying stressors. These underlying stressors are emotional, and they're probably very overwhelming. This is sort of like 10 or 20 or 30 years of suppressed fear or anger, etc. And we need to make that safe again. And you can do that by slightly exposing yourself to these emotions. And you can do that via art, journaling, ecstatic movement. And the idea of this is not to push yourself into feeling and releasing these emotions, but to make them safe. And therefore you need to go very slowly, maybe just a minute or 2 or 3 a day. And then after that, after sort of like gently triggering these emotions, you would need to stop and do something soothing, something that is comfortable, like something nice, like eating some chocolate. So that's step number 8, the preparation work. Step number 9 is releasing. And that's what we do in the release program, of course. I'll put some links in the description below with some release tools. But all of these release tools, they start with presence, with stopping, with connecting to the body, so that you calm down a little bit, because otherwise going in is probably too overwhelming. And a big group of people manages to completely release the underlying emotion that is causing the brain to create symptoms and that is causing the dysregulation. But another group don't really manage that, at least not in the beginning or in the beginning year. But over time, by releasing these emotions, by allowing them, by feeling them, they can make a huge step in their healing journey. And they notice that they have gradual improvement. Step 10 is actually incredibly important. You need to expand your comfort zone. Let's say you're bedbound. Eventually, you would need to get out of bed. But restricting your life with all kinds of rules makes your life actually more dangerous, because it becomes scary to go to the bathroom. So you need to go gently outside of the comfort zones when you're feeling better, to go back and to process as well the emotions that were coming to the surface. In this video, here, I explain this entire process and I talk about the 3 lies in recovery that sort of like perpetuates this push and crash cycle that people are in. So enjoy this movie.